Hello Tentacrew, and welcome to my Tips of the Tentacle for Remnant from the Ashes. Today's topic, Earth and its denizens. Today we'll be going over all of the basic and elite enemies on the Earth biome of Remnant from the Ashes. If you are just starting the game, I highly suggest you go back and watch my beginner's tutorial on Remnant from the Ashes. It'll give you a full run through of the tutorial and all the secrets in Ward 13 before you actually set foot on Earth to battle the Root. If you would like to watch me battle the Root live, my stream and all of my Discord and Twitter links will be down below in the comments. So let's get started on Earth, the first biome you will enter in Remnant from the Ashes, and also one of my personal favorites. This area has a wide variety of enemies, and we'll be going through each and every one of them, giving a little bit of info about them so you will be better prepared whenever you see them, as well as what tactics I would suggest when you encounter them. So let's start off with the basic Root Grunt. These guys come in two major varieties, the basic version and the heavy version. You can tell the difference between the two because the heavy version will be more gray and also have more roots coming off of its shoulders and head. Being the first enemy you'll encounter in the game, they are by far the easiest. They go down with a few headshots, as well as being weak to fire damage, as most of the Root enemies are. The only real threat they pose is if you get swarmed by them. They come with two basic attacks, a double slash or a hatchet throw, both of which can be easily avoided with proper timing. A shotgun blast to the chest usually takes them out in one shot, and a hunting rifle or any other weapon to the head takes 2 to 3. Moving on to the next basic enemy, we will be discussing the Root Seeds. These little guys are most likely to be found in the sewer and the forest biome on Earth, and they tend to attack in packs. Individually, they're very weak. Most weapons can kill them in either 1 to 3 shots, and a melee attack will take 1 to 2 depending on if you have the hammer or the sword or hatchet. They only come with a single attack, which is run up to you and do a jumping attack. This can be easily dodged if you dodge through it. Sometimes when you dodge backwards out of it, it'll lunge them forward and they'll still end up hitting you. So I suggest dodging forward. Again, these guys are weak to fire, and with their pack mentality, it's easier to thin them out at a distance before they can get in close to you, or if you're using the hammer, let them get in close and then one-shot each of them with your melee attacks as you come through. Often these seeds will be accompanied by Root Puffs. These guys are giant walking spore husks, and when shot or get close to you, they will detonate, leaving a cloud behind that will give you root rot. If you're not familiar with root rot, it's a disease in the game that will cause your character to spontaneously start coughing randomly, bringing you out of any action that you are performing at that time, and leaving you vulnerable to attacks as you won't be able to dodge until after the coughing fit is over. Oil Skin Tonic is used to cure root rot, and I would suggest buying a healthy supply of that as you trek through Earth. Unlike the seeds, whose weak spot is their mouth, the puffs do not have a weak spot, but they will most likely die in 1 to 2 hits, depending on the weapon. Just make sure you kill them far enough away from you so that you don't get caught in the resulting explosion. After the Root Seeds, you'll come across the Root Gunners. These are the new basic enemy for the second major city portion of Earth, and will replace the Root Grunts. These guys have a relatively low health pool, and are also vulnerable to headshots and fire. As the name suggests, they are equipped with auto crossbows. These are capable of doing moderate damage consistently at a close range, but at farther ranges, they tend to never hit unless you're standing absolutely still. Use that to your advantage and pick them off at a distance with headshots. The last basic enemies are also very rare, as they only spawn in one side quest. They are the human bandits, both gunner and melee variants, and dogs. These bandits are equipped with either a hunting rifle or a scrap hatchet, and will either use similar tactics to the Root Gunners to gun you down from a distance, or rush in and try to smack you. The hatchet wielders don't tend to combo, so if you dodge through one of their attacks, they're most likely going to be open for you to finish them off with 1 or 2 shots, as they also have a fairly weak health pool. The dogs, while most can be downed in 1 to 2 shots, are very fast and do more damage than the hatchet-wielding bandits. Definitely be careful of them and take them out as a priority. With most human-based enemies in this game, they are weak to bleed, but I would not suggest wasting your time trying to get a bleed weapon specifically for them, as most of them are pretty weak to begin with. And that wraps it up for the basic variants of enemies on Earth. So let's get into the real bread and butter, the fun stuff, the random rolls that can either make or break a fight, the elites. First off, we'll talk about the Root Heavy. The Root Heavy comes equipped with a giant sword and will bum rush you as soon as he sees you. He's only got 3 attacks, one being the running uppercut, another being an overhead slam, and a third being a wide sweep. Do not underestimate the range of the slam and the sweep, as they will tend to catch you even if you think you're out of range. As far as I could tell, the Root Heavy has no weak spot, but he is super resilient to face shots as he's got a giant metal plate there, so do not go for face shots. I would suggest going for body shots. The Root Heavy is very weak to fire, so definitely bring Hot Shot if you're having trouble with them. For tactics, I would suggest baiting out the rushed attack so that he does the uppercut. Dodge through the uppercut and then attack him from behind, as he has a fairly long window before he's able to retaliate. Wash, rinse, and repeat this 2 to 3 times, and he should be down easy. Just watch out for the mobs that spawn with him. Next, let's talk about the Crossbow Snipers. These guys come in 2 variants, a Sniper variant and a Bomber variant. The Sniper variant and the Bomber variant both have the same movements, as they will teleport to random locations and shoot at you from those locations. If the aggro gets too much on them, they will then disappear and teleport to a different spot. The Sniper will shoot 2 crossbow bolts at you from wherever they're perched, and the Bomber will charge up 1 arrow, shoot it near your location, and it'll stay there. After about 5 seconds, long enough for you to forget about it, the missile will explode, leaving behind a cloud of root rot, and also causing damage if you're nearby. Headshots and fire damage will do the deal here, and it will most likely take you 2 cycles to actually finish them off unless you get in close with the shotgun. Sometimes you'll be walking through Earth, and you'll hear a spinning audio command. This means there's a Root Brute nearby. Root Brutes are Gatling gun wielding giant roots. They are very, very, very deadly at close range, and fairly deadly at long ranges. Your biggest thing you want to do is break line of sight with them as soon as you see them. After breaking line of sight, if you have Hot Shot available, definitely turn that on, as like I said with most root enemies, they are weak to fire. The Root Brute holds his gun on his left side. So, the easiest way I've found to counter this is to find a piece of cover and peek the left side of it. If you didn't know, you can change the shoulder you peek from with shift while aiming down sight. Peek the left side of cover, and he won't be able to shoot you, but you'll be able to shoot him. Use this for an easy takedown. Next, let's talk about Emulators, who are disguised cleverly as regular root grunts. The main difference between the two is Emulators will be dripping an oil-like substance. The gimmick with Emulators is if you attack them with any firearm, this includes crossbows, they will ignite. Ignited Emulators are extremely aggressive and also do damage to you if you run up and do melee attacks to them. They also get a health pool buff whenever they ignite, and do not take burning damage. If you happen to accidentally ignite an Emulator, go for headshots. But the best way to take out an Emulator is to run up and do melee attacks before they ignite. This will prevent them from getting the buffed state from being emulated, and also kill them in 2 swings, most likely, maybe 3 depending on the weapon. Without igniting, they are just like every other root grunt, a non-threat. Let's talk about the root's Tallboy elites. They come in 3 different varieties, and each one has a very unique gimmick. The first one is the Swordsmaster. They will hold 2 swords up in front of them and slowly approach you. Any bullets you shoot at them, they will deflect. The only way to do damage to them is to attack them during or after an attack animation. They are left vulnerable for not nearly enough time after doing an attack, but depending on the weapon that you use, you should be able to take advantage of this moment of weakness. Fire and shots to the back of the head tend to work best, and I would suggest waiting for this attack animation here. You'll see the Swordmaster throw his swords to the side and rush you. Shortly after, he'll do a sweeping attack. Dodge through this, and this will leave his back open for approximately a second. If you have a shotgun, this is easy peasy. The next tallboy we'll talk about is the Assassin. These guys have the Archer's ability to teleport, but instead of teleporting away from you, they teleport directly on top of you. They also have the unique ability to phase through about 5 shots from any of your weapons, making them completely invulnerable until you get that window closed. After you deplete their dodges, they're completely vulnerable unless you give them time to recharge. Use this to your advantage and take them out quickly. The last tallboy we'll discuss is the Root Lasher. These guys are only found in the garden biome, and should be handled with extreme care. They have some of the highest damage of the elites, and are also some of the fastest. They have no invulnerability windows, but their attack range is ridiculous, and they also close the gap on you extremely quickly. Much like the Swordsmaster, I would bait out the charging attack, dodge through it, and then attack from behind, as they actually have a larger window than the Swordsmaster does to attack from. This will most likely take 2 cycles unless you're buffed up on fire and getting all headshots, but easily taken down after that. Whenever running through the city where the gunners are at, you have a chance of running through an elite gunner. These guys are equipped with sniper rifles and will try to do their best to keep distance away from you. If you manage to land a shot on them, that first shot will be completely negated, but it will put them into a stun state. Use this time to do damage to them. Their guns hit hard, but I believe these are the weakest of the elites, as one bullet puts them into a stun state where they are completely unable to retaliate. The stun will recharge if left unchecked, but you should be able to take them out with 1 successful shot afterwards. Easy peasy. In the garden biome, along with the Lasher, you'll find 2 other unique elites. The first one is super common, and I call it the root tumbleweed. It's about the same size as the seeds, but instead of running at you with hatchets, it balls itself up and rolls at you at high speeds, knocking you off balance and doing damage if it hits you. It also has the ability to jump at you and do a double swipe, which does a very, very high amount of damage. They have no weak spot, but are susceptible to fire, and also susceptible to stagger on high power weapons such as the shotgun, revolver, or rifles. Use that to your advantage, knock them off balance, and kill them in 3 to 4 shots. The other is a puffball thrower. These hulking dudes look much more intimidating than they are. When combined with a swarm, they can be hard to manage, as they throw puffballs at you that explode, doing damage and dealing root rot, and can also cloud the battlefield, making it hard to see seeds as they're coming at you. But by themselves, they are weak to fire damage, have a massive headshot spot, and also have a low health pool, combined with the fact that enough headshots will stagger them out of a throwing animation. These guys should be easily dealt with, and deal with them quickly if they are in a group. The final group of elites we'll talk about are the Routan Mages, and these guys also come in 3 variants. The first variant looks like it has a bird face, and its only attack is to throw out seed spawns. A little disc will throw out, and then whenever it hits the ground, a seed will pop out of it. These guys have a high health pool and tend to attack with a group of underlings to make it so that you get overwhelmed while they spawn more and more seeds. Focus them down first, before dealing with the underlings. The next 2 have the same basic attack, where they charge up their staff and shoot a ball of energy at you, which deals high damage and staggers you. One variant has a giant mouth, and its special attack is it'll slam its staff to the ground, buffing all the enemies nearby so that they can phase through one of your attacks. This becomes particularly difficult when you're in a root garden full of seeds, as those 1 extra shots will add up and make it significantly longer for you to take out the mob coming at you. The mouth is the weak point, and again they're susceptible to fire damage. I would highly suggest dealing with the mob first and then attacking them, as they have no way of replenishing the mob after it's dead. The final elite is another form of mage. Like I said, it has the same basic attack, shooting a ball of energy at you, but its special ability is it'll slam its staff to the ground and summon an exploding puffball at your location. The puffball will spawn in the air at your location, and after about 1.5 seconds explode, dealing root rot damage. These mages have a giant orb for a head, and that is a giant weak spot, leaving them easy to quickly dispatch. The hardest thing about this mage is he doesn't need a line of sight on you to be able to summon these orbs, so be careful of that. Honorable mention goes to Shade, as in one of the dungeons, if it spawns, there will be crystals, and if you destroy those crystals, Shade will appear. I won't get into too much detail about him, since he will be in my boss video for Earth, but he is basically an archer that also has the ability to summon explosions at your location. Just listen to the audio command, clear 1/4 of his health bar, and he'll disappear. And that concludes the Welcome to Earth Enemies tutorial. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments below, and if you have any ideas on a topic that you would like to see me cover, let me know as well. As I said before, my socials are down in the comments, as well as my stream if you want to see this live. Much love, Tenna Crew.